What's up, guys? Customer wants his wheel bearings repacked on a trailer. I asked him if he wanted new ones or just wanted them repacked. He said he wanted new ones. I'm gonna do my due diligence. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a price with the new wheel bearings and see what kind of condition the old ones are in. So here is the trailer wheel. Just right off, I noticed the bearing cap is missing, which means water and dirt has been getting in there. And so this is probably gonna be the worst bearing, so this is the one I'm gonna pull first. Anytime you remove a seal from its place, it needs to be replaced, plus the bearing is behind it, and the seal is this guy right here. So that is going to have to come off to get to the inner bearing. Usually there's a part number around this part here, and I sanded it down, couldn't find a part number, so I'm going to have to pull it out and take it down to the part store with me so I can figure out what that is. So to get this out, I'm going to have to put the screwdriver in there like that. I'm gonna tap this side with a hammer while holding this side down with my hand, and it should pry up this way, and I'm just gonna keep working my way around until the whole thing's out, trying my best not to damage it if possible. All right, guys, so I got this gentleman's bearings all out. All four of them are sitting there. Here are his hubs. I wanted to show you a few things we got here, but just above my thumbnail there is rust on that roller, and that is from the bearing buddy cap. That's the side that the bearing buddy cap with a hole in it, so water was sitting in there and the rust is eating away at the roller. Inside of here, this is where the bearing rides, is where my fingernail is. Can't really see it, I guess, but if you look in there real closely, there's not hardly any grease. I have not wiped this out yet, but there's not hardly any grease where that bearing was sitting. This is the outside bearing. So here's the inside. You can see it is completely caked in grease, and the hub is packed full. This trailer had been greased using that greaser, and so all of this, instead of sitting in the bearing, was just sitting in the hub, and the outer bearing was dry, resulting in some of the damage you saw. So here is the bearing kit. This has a 1-year warranty, comes with both the bearings and the seal, which is great. This actually, when you get the kits in bundle, it actually saves a little bit, bundle and save. And then, so I got to press the old seals out of here. That's what the air hammer's here for. I already did this one. You can see chunks of it sitting here. Not the seal, the bearing race. There's chunks of it here. There's a chunk of it over there. So basically I have to use the air hammer to get those out, and then I can start pressing the new ones in. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do this real quick. And I find an air hammer to be the best solution for getting these out. So what you got to do is you got to go inside all the way through. So you get it in there, make sure you got the edge of the lip. I know I got it because it quit moving. And you just work your way in a circle all the way around. So you start here, and you move it a little bit. Go here, move it a little bit, go here. And then you can see it's at the edge there. So now I'm gonna pick it up, hold in my hand. Hang on a second, kiddo. Like that. There you go. Now you can see how I'm grabbing it. See, just on the edge like that. And give it a couple of love taps. And there it goes. So you gotta do that too. Gotta do that to each side. That's out, and the kit came with new ones. If you rub inside of here after you're done and you feel some funny edges, you're gonna have to get sandpaper to go ahead and sand that back down. All right, guys, got the grease cleaned out of this one. Got those rough edges sanded down. I'm ready to put this bearing in, or this race in. Since the race has to go in first, the cone side goes up, and then the bearing will go in afterwards. Get some grease on there, lather it on there real nice and good. So I'm gonna set it down in there. Now this is the seal side. This is the side that gets the seal, so that's why I'm putting this bearing in first, is because then I can pack it and install it. I'm going to show you guys 2 different ways to pack bearings, because I have 2 different bearings here. Before you go installing parts, just compare them to the others. I already held it up to this one, made sure the race was the same. Bearings fit inside the races, so I know they're good. They have the same part numbers, the ones I got. I just need to double check that seal. You're going to hold them up together, make sure they look about the same. Go ahead and set them back to back. Make sure the outside diameter is the same and the inside diameter is the same. What these seals do is these seals keep the dirt and water from getting inside the bearings. Show you how to set these in. You can use a hammer and a socket. You can use a lot of different things as long as it fits inside of the hub and is the same size as the outside of that. So this guy is the same size as that race. And oh, this is a seal driver kit, by the way. So that is the same size as the race. So I'm going to set that in there. When you're doing this, you want to make sure it all presses in there straight. If you get it crooked, you can damage things, so I just love tap it till I know it's set in there straight, and then I work my way around it. Alright, so as you see, it is not quite in there straight. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to very gently love tap the high side until I get it in there straight. I'm going to set the seal driver back in there and keep going at it. So I know this side's high. Give it some love taps. So now that I got it straight again, I'm gonna start using this again. All right, give it a couple more love taps. All right, now we're going straight. The face, I'm gonna give it firm taps now. You heard the difference? That means it bottomed out. You pull that out. That race is now set. All right, guys, let's go ahead and pack this first bearing. I'm gonna show you guys the old school way. I don't like this way because it's messy and it's time consuming, but it saves you from buying one of these. And I'll show you that in a minute. So what you do is you get a good old glob of grease going in your palm, and you press the bearing into the grease firmly, and it starts setting inside of there like so. You just keep going around, and keep going around, and as you can see, my hands are getting extremely greasy. But what it does, you can see it starting to protrude inside the rollers there, and that's what you're looking for. Alright, and we're all squished out of there. So go ahead and take that excess grease, rub it around, get it all in there good. Make sure it's coated completely all the way around. I like to rub some inside of the hub also. Use this finger because it's greasy. And there you go. Go ahead and install the seal. So the seal, the inside part like that, always goes in, and the rubber seal goes out. So you're gonna go ahead and set that guy in there. So you're gonna do the same thing with this. This sits flush, so I always grab a bigger one. It's not gonna go inside the hub. You're gonna set it on there. Go ahead and change these out real quick. And this one is strictly love taps. This is very thin metal. If you do more than a love tap on this one, you will damage it, and then you have to go get another one and try to explain why it's damaged. No fun. Trust me, I've been there, done that. All right, so this is just love taps. Pressing in crooked. This side over here is high, so I'm going to take that centerpiece out, and I'm just going to use the flat part of the driver itself. There we go. That side seated. That side seated. A couple taps to make sure it's even, and there we go. That bearing and seal is now installed. All right, guys, this is the other method of installing or packing bearings. This is my preferred method. You can get these at O'Reilly's if you want to do it this way. I highly recommend it if you're planning on packing quite a few wheel bearings. This is where all the magic happens. Go ahead and drop the bearing with the small part down inside of there. You set this guy on top, and you just put pressure on it. These work best in a vise. I don't have a vise, so gotta do it this way. Alright, there we go. And you see my hands are still greasy, but not anywhere near what they were with the other one. We're gonna go ahead and pop this out. You can see the grease has squirted through the backside. And so I'm gonna take all this excess. I'm just gonna lather it on there. Nice and thick like. Now this bearing's ready to be installed. So it turns out this actually isn't the worst one, but it's a good one to show you guys. If you see in here, all those funny spots, you can actually catch your fingernails on all those funny spots, and that's where the bearing rides. If I was to just set new bearings inside of that hub without replacing these races, it would damage the new bearings in no time, and I'd have to warranty them out. These are the caps that went bad and the water got in. On one, it was completely missing, and then you can see how this hole's smaller. The rubber seal sits in there, and the seal was torn on the other one. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and wipe all the old grease off of the axle shaft here, because it's contaminated now. We're going to apply a new coat of thin grease on there, just to help get some grease everywhere, and grease helps prevent rust also. So get some on my paper towel here, rub a nice coat on there. So I got the seal and the bearing already in there, obviously. And slide that guy on there, and you'll feel the seal touch. Just give it a quick little shove, finish seating it. then we put the other greased bearing in there. Taper side goes in. Gotta make sure you get this straight. You'll feel it start sliding easy. Seat it as far as you can. Now we've got to install all those washers in order. So here we've got that funny looking flat guy. There's a flat spot on the axle where that sits, so we get that guy shoved in there. Then we have that one with the little pin on it. That also has a flat spot, so it has a certain spot. It sits in the axle just like that. Now I'm going to clean the nut off and go ahead and install the nut also. Alright, we got that cleaned off. So we're going to thread this on. Alright, so this guy ended up being a 1.5 inch socket on the short little ratchet here. These are just past finger tight, so make sure you'll kind of feel everything seat, and just one hand, little snug. I'm gonna spin it a couple times, and then I like to install the wheel for the rest of this part. Alright guys, so I like to install the tire like I said. You want to feel for side to side and up and down play. I have none. And you spin the tire and see how hard it comes to a stop. You don't want it to come to a stop instantly, but you want it to be sort of abrupt. And then the trick with these ones, because it does not have a cotter pin slot, is to make sure you can line up the washer in a spot where you can get that tab bent over into the groove. Okay, there's the tab. Good. Tab's in the spot I do like. So I just gotta line that pin up with the tab. There we go. Now we gotta fold that tab over. Alright, so that tab is in this notch right here. So I gotta catch the edge of it and start folding it down. And I'm going to use a hammer to help persuade it a little bit. There we go. Slid right down into that groove. And we're set. No side to side play, no up and down. It spins freely and it comes to a quick stop, but not like it's seized up. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and shove some more grease around here real quick, just cause like I said, I like grease. And then I'll clean it all up, wipe it down when we're done. So here's that greaser I mentioned earlier, right in the end of the axle. It shoots grease in next to the bearing, but not necessarily in it. But this is the cap that goes on. It's just got a metal spot that presses in there. I kind of bent up the other one while I was doing it, so you got to be pretty gentle with this guy. There we go. Starting to press in there. So I'm going to use the rubber side of the hammer. Get it nice and seated. And then here's the rubber cap that keeps the water out, so you can access the greaser. Alright, last thing we have to do is set her down and torque her down. Alright. I am torquing this one to 100 foot-pounds because it is a small trailer. Just gonna double check them all real quick. Alright, now finishing touches is to wipe off all that excess grease that I happen to get all over the place.